In a long story short, my son tried everything possible for 6 months to give money to Mr. Toohey to settle the case, to get shut of it on the advice of my family. He called the solicitors, Mr. Toohey's solicitor's office, for an account number, and the lady in the office refused to give him any account number or any information. It seems apparent that Mr. Toohey must have had a change of mind and didn't want to comply with the agreement. He then went back to court, and his solicitor, there was somebody there on the first day in court that represented me. It may be the solicitor that I had. I had no record. He never notified me of anything, the solicitor that I had. It seems that the solicitor I had was cooperating more with Mr. Toohey's solicitor than he was with me. And that day there was an adjournment. Then the second day of the court, which was what's the dates of it? On 12/20/10, I was never notified by anybody, by letter or and to any place whatsoever, of the hearing. They had my address, Derrimore East O'Callaghan's Mills, but the solicitor in the case always send any papers he had for me to a location that I wouldn't receive them. He actually never served me papers in my proper address of Derrimore East O'Callaghan's Mills. That taxation should not have gone ahead, and Mr. Toohey shouldn't have put his name on the folio of my property house on 12/1/11. I was never notified whatsoever. Mr. Toohey's solicitor then sent a letter to a newspaper in Boston requesting them to publish the taxation letter, but they refused to do that. They consider that blood money, and refused to publish letter for Mr. Toohey. Mr. Toohey then later came into court and told Mr. Sherry. Mr. Sherry came into court and told the county registrar, and the county registrar ordered me to accept the taxation paper from Mr. Sherry. And he told me that if I didn't accept the tax paper of taxing, which I didn't understand what it was all about, that my case would go on anyway, regardless, because he didn't like to have Mr. Sherry upset and coming into court every day. That was not my problem of Mr. Sherry coming into court every day. Mr. Sherry took on a case that was perjury and fraud, a fraudulent case, where Mr. Toohey was paid for the work he did. He was paid for the half house he built, not a full house. He never built a full house, didn't know how to build a full house. When my son contacted the revenue office in Kilrush Road, They never heard of Mr. Toohey as a contractor. This is a letter my son got from Mr. Sheehan of the Revenue Office in the Kilrush Road, Ennis. In looking into the matter, and finally they could not find any VAT number for Mr. Toohey, and so that was the end of that. This is a letter from my son to the Superintendent of the Gardaí in Ennis on May 6, 2010, requesting to confirm the proper address for Mr. Toohey, which I have shown in previous exhibits. Thank you. This is a letter to the Revenue Office again in the Kilrush Road, Ennis, trying to locate Mr. Toohey as proper address. He has 3 addresses: Belvoir, Enoch East and Enoch West. Thank you. This is a copy of a letter I sent to the Land Registry Office in Waterford. The Dublin office told me that I should appeal, let the Waterford office know of the situation. I was not served papers to be in court for the taxation or for anything to be put on my folio. This is absolutely fraud. What has gone on? Telling the court that I was served papers when I wasn't served papers at my address of Derrymore, East O'Callaghan's Mills, County Clare. Thank you. This is my home address, which Mr. Toohey and Mr. Sherry were well aware of it. That's the address they use to put tax on the folio, and Mr. Toohey's does not live and has passed my house for years. I never knew this man until I was introduced to him by a friend that told me he was a block layer, which that was not. He may have worked with a block layer, but he definitely was not a qualified block layer because he did not know what to do. This is a letter from the Taoiseach, reply to me, but so far nothing has happened. This is a letter from my solicitor in Ennis, March 1909, accusing me of lying to him that I was in Tulla. The court was told that I was in Tulla and had ignored the court, which was not true. And the next 2 pages, I will show you, you will see that I was not in Tulla. Okay, take that one down. What's the date in that?
March 24th.
This is a letter from St. Sebastian Center in New York that I was on March 24th. I was in New York, not in Tulla, as the court was told. Thank you. This is a letter from the Irish Centre in Long Island, New York, City, New York. Proof that I was there on that day and was not in Ireland or in Tulla as the court was told by Mr. Toohey and Mr. Sherry. On February 4, in or about February 4th, 2013, I am not exactly sure of the date, I was lured into the court in Ennis by Mr. Pesci, a solicitor that my brother found somehow, and Mr. Sherry got Mr. Pesci to bring me into court, and he told the court that he served papers on me in America and in Tulla, which was totally false. This is a total tragedy. How one solicitor could con my brother into bringing me to court for additional expenses that he wasn't entitled to. And I still don't know what the expenses was to this day. Thank you. I wish to say that I'm very thankful to John Gill, to my friend Joe and Michael, for all their help during this crisis. And I think it was wrong for Mr. Toohey and Mr. Sherry to go into court, into the county registrar, and get his permission to sell my home and evict me. That's where the case stands now. I am facing being evicted from my home, where I lived for, my family lived for over 100 years. This will be the second eviction. We were evicted by the English over 100 years ago, but we still held on to the place with the help of hundreds of people, hundreds of Irish people. But it turns around. I don't know if this is Mr. Toohey is an Englishman. It seems the English eviction is coming back again to me, to the Hogan family, to myself, my wife, and my 3 children. And this is a travesty of justice, perjury and fraud. Somebody trying to collect the full price, telling the court that they had the house fully built, and look for the price of the full price from the judge of building the house. And by lying to the judge, they were successful. This is a total crisis for anybody in any walk of life, in any country. I'm thankful to John Gill and everybody for all the help they have given me for the last few years through this serious torture. Thank you.